Hi everyone, Gary Sieves here, back for a little weekend preview with me, and Mark's back joining me today. Just kind of a quick run through. The video's not going to last too long. Neither of us have any serious bets on this weekend, but just thought we'd have a bit of a chat really, more about maybe some implications that might arise for the festival going forward. So, hi Mark, how's it going?
Doing fine, Gary.
Yeah, had a
Looking
good
forward
week.
to this weekend.
Yeah,
Haven't
some
had
good
a bet
racing.
all week.
No,
Not had a
no
bet
bets.
since the company
Yeah.
debacle. So
Yeah.
not had a
Okay, mate.
bet since then.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
You?
get straight. I've had a couple, mate. I've had a decent week, to be fair. I've had two winners yesterday and one today, so not too bad, mate. Not too. The two yesterday were a 12-1 and a 11-1, I think. So decent prices. Today was a 9-2 shot. So yeah, not too bad. I'll be up for the week anyway. That's the main thing.
All right. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Right, okay, mate. So we'll start tomorrow. We're not going to go through every race on all the cards, but we'll start at Ascot. We'll go with the 1240, which is only one of the minor races on the card. Is it a race you've had a look at, Mark, or just
No.
one that?
No. I've only looked at the TV ones, really.
Yeah, the TV ones. Well, me too. But I just have a little one to watch out for in that race. Is one called Tritonic, I think it's called, for Alan King. I think I believe it's a jumps debut, rated 106 on the flat. So that's just one I'll be having a little dabble on tomorrow. Obviously, a debut out could happen, but being rated 106 on the flat, it's one that certainly going to be having a look out for. All right, swiftly onto the 115, which I think is the first one that's on the telly, and got a hot little race in the Mares Hurdle here. Is it one you've had a bet in, or will be having a bet in?
No, because I fancy Roxana, and I think I can't back it at 45 against Magical Light, so I'll just leave the race alone. Really, I can't bet her at that price, but I don't think she'll get beaten.
Yeah, I've just got, again, it's not one I'll be betting in either because of the short odds, but it wouldn't surprise me if Magical Light did turn her over, which is why I won't be betting in it. I don't even think there's enough value in backing Magical Light against her. It'll be a race I'll certainly be intrigued to watch. I think Roxana surprised me, to be fair to her, in that race behind Paisley Park and Time Hill, with how close she actually got to him that day. I thought it was a very good run from her. But Magical Light's one of them that's never out the picture. I know she's back over hurdles here, but could help her out more than anything. But yeah, hot little race, but not one for either of us to be having a bet in by the sounds of things. Just sit back and watch it race, I believe. Okay, mate, we'll move on to the 150, the Grade 3 handicap hurdle. Another nice little race to get stuck into, a nice, decent-sized field. I'll start us off with this one, and currently best priced, I think 7-1. I like Arrivederci in this. Won well on its seasonal reappearance at Wetherby before falling when going well at Haydock. I actually think he would have won that day. And then he ran over a shorter trip at Ascot, so can be forgiven for that because he was just never in it. The race just seemed to be too quick. He just never got himself into the race. So I'm just going to strike a line through that one, and back over this trip I think will suit a lot better here. Janica was my other fancy, but and there was two actually. A bit of a cliff horse for me. Botox has. I quite like that horse, but I've given up on him, to be honest. So my bet, and it will be a bet for me in this race at 7-1, is going to be Arrivederci. Yourself, have you had a bet, or are you going to have a bet?
No, I think the one I most liked was Janica. I looked at Paddy's motorbike as well, but I think Janica, even though she's top weight, I think I'd go with that. I looked at Paddy's motorbike. I also looked at Podduck's horse, but I just can't keep ploughing money into that thing.
No, I agree.
It's a bad project, yes. But it's probably tomorrow a win-win when neither of us are on, and a lot of other people are talking about it's too much. He's lost too many times. But yeah, Janica for me, just though. But that was the other two I looked at: Paddy's motorbike and Podduck's horse.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Yeah. Okay, so that's where we are with that race. We'll move straight on to the next one, which is the 225. Just bring my notes up swiftly. Come on, this is the handicap chase. So we will start off with yourself, Mark. Have you had a bet in this one?
I haven't had a bet yet, but I think I might. It depends because there was a non-runner announced this afternoon, and a lot of the prices came down. But I might back Townshend in this at a big price. I just think the claimer's getting £10 off it, so it's going to be just about the bottom weight. Nigel Twiston Davis' horse has just turned the corner a wee bit. I just think he's a bit of a decent price at 22-1. Well, he was 22-1 before the prices came down, so he was the one I was liking, and I probably will back him.
Okay, well, this could be another Flooring Porter job then, because in my notes here, I am going for Townsend at best price at 20-1, I believe. Still get 20s, I believe. Right. So yeah, I think with the claimer on board, it's the exact same notes as yourself there, mate. So that's good to know, because we're fingers crossed we have a decent record when we both fall on the same horse. So I will be also backing that one, so that's good to know. Nice 20-1 shot will be lovely to land and set us up for the weekend going forward. Okay, move swiftly on because we've got a few to get through. On to the 3 o'clock. Another big field, I believe. Notes are just bringing up. Yeah, and Espoir de Gay is probably my bet here. I struggled to pick. I had 2 or 3 that I fancied. Domain Delisle, however you pronounce it, was another one I fell on. I actually like Louis Vacpouch for Phil Kirby, but he's just been a bit inconsistent lately, so he'll probably win because I'm leaving him alone and not backing him. But yeah, I think my bet at around 13-2 best price at the minute is Espoir de Gay. Yourself?
I don't know how this horse will cope with going back up in distance, further up in distance, but Capelин's got good form at the chalk, so I was going to sort of chance him. I don't know if I'll back him, but I looked at him at 10-1 and thought he might be a half decent bet. But he went up from 2 miles to 2 miles 4. Now he's going up to 3 miles. It might be just a wee bit too far for him, but I picked him really. But against some of these Venetia Williams horses, that love soft ground, maybe this will be a bit too much this distance. But if he does cope the distance, I think he's a very good horse.
Yeah. Just one to note from my horse on the Espoir de Gay. I mentioned my pick, but didn't say why. There it was just because he's a course and distance winner on seasonal debut before. They took a tongue strap off, and he ran pretty poorly the last time, and that tongue strap is back on tomorrow. So I'm hoping that can bring him back to form, and that was a bit of a reason as to why he ran like he did the last day. Okay, on to the main race at Ascot on tomorrow, Saturday, which is the 3:35, and we've got a nice little renewal of the Clarence House chase. I'll start us off, and I'm going to go against the hot favourite of Politolog. I don't know why. I keep going against him because he's getting better and better. He's 10-year-old, but does seem to be in the best form of his life at the minute. Fair play to him and fair play to Paul Nicholls. I heard an interview today, I think it was on the Nick Luck podcast, where they were on about the specific training schedule he has to have for this horse. Like, he does something different to every other horse, and I think it's really good that horses that like that get that attention to detail from a trainer, and it's something that Paul Nicholls seems to be good at. But I'm going to go with the supplemented waiting patiently here. Obviously, right back down in trip, went from 3 mile to 2 mile, which I know could be a reason not to back him. Very interested, obviously, to see how Defi de Sol does, and fingers crossed he's back to himself. If he is back to himself, he's going to be very hard to beat, and I hope he is, because it'll make the champion chase a better race going forward. And it's, when you've got such a good horse. Concerns are that Philip Hobbs just doesn't seem to have any reason why he's run like he has. So he was on. I think it was Road to Cheltenham this week, and when they asked him the question, he just said they had absolutely no idea why he'd ran the 2 races that he had. So yeah, they've just been monitoring him, and they just hope he's going to produce this weekend. fingers crossed he will. But for me, waiting patiently. I know it's been a horse that's been off the track more than he's been on the track in recent times. Come back, ran really well, albeit over the 3 mile distance. But he does have some 2 mile form and has actually beat Politolog over this distance previously. So I'm gonna have it's 5-2, I think, best price at the minute, which isn't great. But I'm gonna have a little side. It won't be massive stakes, but I will have a bet on him. And I think he can produce some, and he might end up chucking himself into the champion chase mix, which I didn't think. Well, I don't think anybody thought would happen a couple of weeks ago. You know, he was looking, if anything, a Ryanair horse probably. But I do, obviously, if he runs a blinder here, he'll throw his name right into the mix and will probably force the hands to go down that route. So yeah, that's where I am on it. Obviously, Politolog's the informed horse and the right favourite, but I just think if he comes up against something good, he's one of them horses that will just win everything if it falls right and everything else falls away behind him. But I think once he comes up against something really good, I can see him getting pipped. So yeah, that's where I am with it. Yourself?
After putting Politolog up on the preview videos, I feel a wee bit of a cheat for thinking that Deffy might beat him tomorrow. But I think if Deffy's back to form, last season he was superb. And he beat Waiting Patiently in the Tingle Creek, where Waiting Patiently didn't really have much excuses. It didn't beat him far, but he seemed to stalk up the hill Deffy a little bit. I think he would have beaten him farther. If not, I think Deffy might be back to form. I can't back Politolog at even money against these two. So, yeah, I'd have to go with one of the two, and I think I'd just go with Deffy just in case. So but I don't think I'll be backing him.
No.
Such. I think he's my fancy, but I don't think I'll back him. I just want to see if he'll win or not. I'd take him out of the field, but I wouldn't be putting money on him.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Obviously, the last race isn't a televised race. Do you have anything in that, Mark? Nothing for me in it.
No, nothing for me. It's a good bumper, though. It's one that people should watch.
Yeah.
It is the bumper, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
It's usually a good bumper. Yeah, but it's not one that I've got a bet in. But I'd advise people to watch it. It's usually a good race.
Yeah. Okay. On to Haydock on Saturday, where, to be fair, it's I've struggled to pick too much out, in all honesty, at Haydock. So we will go through a couple of the races because there's some good talking points in there, if nothing else. We'll start with the first race at the 255. Anything for you, Mark?
The
1255. Sorry, 1255.
Oh, 12.
Yeah, the novice chase.
I've only got. Yeah, I call Haydock the swamp in my videos. I don't like it at all. I don't like betting there. I don't like the form that comes out of there. And I've only got one horse to talk about at Haydock in the whole meeting, and that's in the
I haven't got
Peter Marsh.
In my notes, I haven't got the starting prices or any prices up yet on that race, which is what I was waiting for. And I don't know if they're out yet. I haven't seen, but you would imagine that Allart is going to be the favourite, I would have thought, in that. Interesting to see how he goes for the festival. On to the 130, the Supreme Novices Hurdle there. Do you start with yourself? Have you got a fancy in this?
No.
Nope.
The only one I've got is 240.
240. Okay, mate. Well, we'll get onto that after this. I think that's a hot little race, the 130. Don't have a bet in it, but I do think the top two in the market, Landing Arbo Lad and Manila Drama, I think are two good things to have a look at. But again, a watching race, not one I've had a bet in, and one that I won't be having a bet in. It'll just be a watching job for us. We'll skip the next one because we've just said there that neither of us have a bet. And 240 is a race of big interest. Particularly to myself, having put up Royal Pagile this week, so interested to see how he gets on. I probably will bet him. I think very short enough at 9-4, but still, I think if he's the horse that I think he is, he'll go on and win this. Although going up £16 for his latest, his latest performances, which is a hell of a hike going into a handicap, and can often find a lot of horses out. You've got to be some horse to overcome such a rise in the weights, and there is a couple in behind him that could end up picking him off if he's not up to that. But I think this horse could progress even further, and even though 9-4 is probably my banker of the weekend. So really interested in watching this one. Yourself?
I just think the Swamp over 3 miles 4 is not for most horses, and I've had a each way bet on Smooth Stepper at 18-1 this morning. I just think he loves that. He loves that sort of test. I know he could be completely outclassed by a horse like Beguile, but I think at 18-1 he's way overpriced. He's still 14-1. I think he's the type that'll just be staying on, and he's taken to these fences before. I just like his trainer doesn't have a lot of winners, but he had one earlier this week in Fagan. I just think I can't go in a favourite at Haydock that short over 3 mile 4, so I'm just going to go with Smooth Stepper. Well, I've already backed him. He's one of the 2 bets between him and Townshend, so I've backed him at 14-1 each way. Well, 18-1, but he's 14-1 now, so people can only get on at 14-1.
Yeah. Okay. That will see us off with that race. We'll move straight on to the 3:15, where we are looking at, hopefully, seeing the return of Bouvier. I think we'll only see him if he is at 100%, given that the ground is what it is. So if he does line up going down to the start line, you can imagine that he is 100%, because if there's any qualms whatsoever about him not being 100%, they're likely to pull him. Again, in a 3-horse race, it's a complete watching race, but another one where you just hope he's back to his best, and chuck him into a championship hurdle contender. Probably gonna lay him as a bet just because he's the price he is, basically, against 2 others, and he hasn't run for so long. So I'll probably it won't be a massive bet, but I'll probably just lay him just for the sake of it being as boggy as it is. Yourself?
I can't believe that Bouvardier's getting weight in this race. He's getting weight off both of them. Again, he's getting a champion hurdler's getting weight off Navajo Pass. It's absolute craziness. I mean, if he can't win this, then he ain't winning the champion hurdle. I don't think he'll run, to be honest. I can see Henderson going up there and pulling the plug pretty quick when he sees the ground.
Could happen.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's obviously just a watching brief. I couldn't back him at that price, but if he can't win getting weight off these, then there's something seriously up.
Yeah, like you say, obviously a fantastic horse. I was there the day that the injury happened. The fighting fifth, he was actually running against Lady Buttons when it happened. So it was some time ago. I think 400 odd days. They said it's a long time to be off the track, and at a track like Haydock in these conditions, he'll have to be 100%. So it could end up being a 2-horse race, as we say. Right, that will do us for Haydock as well on Saturday. Have you had a look at anything anywhere else, Mark? Is there anything that takes your fancy?
No, not really. I've only had the 2 bets this weekend, and that's the 2 I've given, Townshend and Smooth Stepper. That's all I have.
Yeah, okay. Okay, on Saturday also 2:10 at Taunton. I like If the Cap Fits. I'll be having not a massive bet, but I will be having a dabble on him. Graded winner. I know there's a hot favourite in here in Yala Enki, and it's a step up in trip 4 if the cap fits. But I can see him being well in the mix there, so I'll be having a little dabble on him. And in the following race, straight after the 2:45, which is the handicap hurdle, I like to have a bet on Air Horse 1 is one I'm going to be taking, an each way double on at 16-1. I think he could run a big race there, but they'll only be fairly small stakes for us. So that's Saturday over and done with, and on Sunday we move to Thurles, and we'll start. I'll run through the card, and if we don't have anything, we'll start with the 130, which is the Mares Novice Chase. I'm assuming everything that's here is still going to run, because we had quite a few entries and people were obviously not declared when I last looked. But we have Colreevely in there. What's your fancy in this, Mark?
I don't really fancy anything really. I'll just be watching to see how Colreevely gets on. It was interesting this morning. I listened to the Horse's Mouth podcast, and I heard Ruby Walsh saying that there was a big pot for a novice mare's chase just before Cheltenham that Colreevely could go for. I'm sure people who've backed her for the mare's chase at Cheltenham won't be liking hearing that, but obviously the Irish races are worth more, and I suppose if he's got something else for the mare's chase, then he would probably take her there for that. But she should be winning this, really. It's not really much of a race. He did say that Yukon Lil was the biggest danger, but you can never... I don't like listening to him about the Malins horses. But yeah, she should win this race, really. Colreevely.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, so it'll be, again, another good one to watch. Move straight on to the 2 o'clock, which is looking like a fairly nice little race. It's the Grade 2 Chase. So, yourself, Mark, have you had a bet in this one, or will you be having a bet?
I won't be having a bet because, like I say, I'm over the cliff with Allaho. He's got to win this. He has to win this race. Over 2 miles forward, where they can just let him go out, bowl along in front. He wanted to go faster in the RSA. That's probably why he sort of stopped in the last half furlong. But this is 2 mile forward. He's got to win this if he's going to go to the Ryanair with any sort of chance. He's going to have to win this. If not, he's soft, because he's not winning races he should win. And if he can't beat this lot, then he's not going to be good. Not as good as what I think he is.
Yeah. I noticed that Ruby Walsh put him up, didn't he, yesterday or today for the Ryanair, his first bet. So you what, mate?
Wrecked the price.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which I was thinking, oh God, him having the connections he does with Min, and my bet being Min, I was a bit concerned.
He could have each way.
Yeah, he did put it up each way. Yeah, that's true.
The other thing with Ruby Walsh is that he never had any winners in that road to Cheltenham all last season, even though he had good bets that got back. Didn't he? None of them won. No.
Oh well, that's fair enough then. If there'd have been, there's only 7 horses in this. If there'd been another horse to get the each way value, I might have had a little dabble on Ellie May, but when it's looking like a win bet, I think it's one I'll probably be sat watching rather than having a dabble in. But yeah, I do agree with you that Allaho has got to come out and stamp his authority here if he is going to be in the mix as a festival winner. But yeah, hot little races. Battle over Diana Mix is an easy game. There's Balco de Flo. It's a good lineup for a small field, so we'll see how it goes.
I got the impression from what he was talking about last night that Ellie May is quite well fancied for this mare's chase. The way he talked about it, the way they're putting her into a race against really good horses over 2 miles forward, makes me think that they're getting her battle hardened for a mare's chase.
Yeah.
Yes. I wouldn't be too upset if she got beat as long as she runs a decent race here.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. Okay. Next race is one, to be honest, I don't have too much of a fancy in, which is the 230, the handicap chase. Do you have anything in there yourself?
No. Nothing in there.
We'll skip by that one then very swiftly. Okay, on to the 3 o'clock, which is the Memorial Irish EBF Novice Hurdle. My computer's just loading so I can get the prices in front of me in case they have altered at all. Is this one you've had a bet in, Mark?
I don't really want to talk about this, Scotty, because I might be putting a bet on my channel pretty soon, and it's one of us is running in this. I fancy one of these for the Albert Bartlett. So
okay.
I'm trying to get money on it myself at the moment, but I can't get the cash on, so
All
I
right.
can't put the bet after I get the money on. But like, what about yourself? What do you fancy in it?
I fancy Fighter Allen. So I can't get any prices up here. It's all coming up as SP.
Yeah.
So it would all depend on what the prices were, as to whether I had a bet or not. But yeah, that's who I think the likely winner is here. Okay, then
Surprised to see that they
go
they
on.
didn't run Startler in this. It was declared and then taken out at the last stage. So it's a bit disappointing that he's not here.
Yeah, very true. And the next race is also on. I don't even have a fancy in it, which is the 3:30. Yourself, have you had a bet, mate? Or whichever fancy
No,
if you don't have a bet. Sorry, it's the
no.
maiden hurdle.
I'll be watching all of this Thurles card really with a view to Cheltenham rather than having a bet at the weekend. There's a lot of Cheltenham clues going to be at that card, but not really any bets for me.
No, yeah, I could totally agree with you. Especially in like the novice ranks, it's now's the time between now and the Dublin Racing Festival where you tend to see the novices coming through and breaking the hearts of those that have jumped into the current top of the market favourites. So yeah, keep a close eye on all of those in particular. And again, there's two races to finish off, but not massive fancies in it, either of them for me. We've got the handicap hurdle at 4 o'clock. Again, anything big fancies or Mark?
No, not really. Just the three big races for me that I want to watch and see if we can pick anything out for Cheltenham.
Yeah. Okay, and then we've got the bumper at the end, which again is another one to watch for me. See if there's anything comes through. There's nothing really that takes my eye in there. Be just a watch and see. I suppose that'd be the same for yourself, is it?
Yeah, really. Yeah. So, what's your best bet for the weekend?
My Royal Pagile is the one that I am quite desperate to see run a big race. Part of me is thinking, with the weight allowance that he's giving away, if he didn't win, it could actually be a good thing for my bet. Because if he went and absolutely hammered this field, giving the weight away, I'm worried that they might take up the Gold Cup entry. This is 3 mile. I think it's 3 mile 1.5. This race, isn't it? So that concerns me a little bit that they've got the entry in there. They obviously think a lot of him, and I'm just concerned that if he was to go out and wallop this field, that's what they'd do with him. But either way, he's got to not run. He can't run terrible. If he ends up running horrendous, then we'll be a bit stuck. Which I don't think he will. I don't think he's showing any signs why he should not run his race. It's just the fact that you're going to get the conditions that you are over just over 3 mile trip. So. He'd be a good bet. I will be having a bet on waiting patiently. Like I said, it won't be a massive bet. Probably Arriva Dirty is one I'll get stuck into a bit. I really like that one. Tritonic, as I mentioned early on in the first race at Ascot, is one I'll be having a decent little bet on. And Air Horse one each way. They're probably my main bets. Yourself?
Just Townshend and Smooth Stepper for me each way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've got Townsend. I'll be having a little bet on that. Won't be massive for me though.
He's my best bet of the weekend. I think Townshend.
Is he?
Right. Yeah. I'm not going mad on anything though. It's just small bets just now.
But yeah, certainly a lot of clues to come up for the festival. So very, very keen to be sitting down and watching through these races, taking some notes and seeing what we can pick out as to might go where. Okay, we'll knock this one on the head for today. It's just a brief little video, having a quick chat about those races, and we will be back hopefully soon with some other previews.
Next weekend for the Cheltenham trials.
Oh yeah, probably yeah. So we'll be back then, mate. All right, well, have a good weekend, Mark, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, same to you, Gary. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.